Stacey Berger here, and today I am here with Heather from Blush Artistry, and we are talking all things business, mindset, success, failure. Looking forward to it. Thanks for being here, Heather.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's start, Heather, by telling us a little bit. Just give us like Cole's notes about your business today and what you do and what that looks like.
We just expanded. So I own 12,000 square feet, just over 12,000 square feet. I lease it. And we have a hair and makeup studio. It's basically a bunch of personal services on one side. So massage, nails, cosmetic procedures, all of that. And then I just took over 8,000 square feet next to us, which is really exciting and very stressful. So we're expanding. It's a gym currently, and they have wellness services like physio, chiro, all of that. And then the mezzanine upstairs is empty. So we're adding a flex space for events. I'm adding more salon suites. I don't know. Do you know what a salon suite is?
No, tell me more.
So in the hair industry, it's really neat. It's a new age thing where hairstylists are renting salon suites instead of getting their own salon or renting a chair.
Okay.
And people, I find, especially nowadays with business owners, and I'm sure your clients can relate, they want autonomy, but they don't want to make the jump and get a lease on their own. So they'll rent these salon suites for roughly $1,800 to $2,200 a month. So we're building 2 of those, and they're sold out everywhere. So we're building 2 of those and rocking and rolling. That's basically what's happening today. Yeah.
Good for you. And how many, so you also have the makeup artistry. So
Yes.
How many makeup artists do you have?
40.
40.
We have 40 hairstylists and makeup artists. Yeah.
Okay.
Contractors. Yeah. Both. Yeah.
So big business.
Yeah, it's like herding kittens, especially in that industry. It's fun though. It's so fun. I love that stuff. So, but yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. So what I always say to people is don't compare when you're starting to my results today, 10 years in.
No.
You didn't start here. So tell us a little bit about your journey into business, into this industry.
My parents are business owners, so they own an auto body shop. So I grew up in business. But really, I had started makeup artistry when I was in nursing school. So I really wanted to help people is what I wanted to do. And I thought that nursing was the best direct route for that. So I got my makeup certification when in nursing school thinking I could just make some extra cash, not really realizing that's not how you make money in makeup. You need clients. And so I started with Estee Lauder actually. And Estee Lauder is an incredible company. They have like 30 companies under their umbrella. She's very, very intelligent. And I worked my way up in Estee Lauder as high as I could go in the city and started to do makeup on the side. So I started Blush. I was with a very smart man at the time. He was a good business person, and he got me to trade name Blush and got me business cards in 2007. And so I was headhunting hair salons because makeup in 2007, very different than today.
Yeah.
And I had that hustle from my parents just naturally that I think a lot of people today are looking for. They want to learn how to do that. And it was a blessing that I got it naturally from my parents. But I would go to hair salons and I'd have my portfolio and like my little picture book that I printed off. And, I'd say like, hire me to be your makeup artist for weddings. And you had to convince people to get their makeup done at that time. Anyways, fast forward to 2014, I started a Facebook page advertising my makeup, and I started to get fully booked. And so, my dad always said the day you give away business is the day you do bad business. So you try to make it work somehow. So I hired a makeup artist to work for me contract. Started with one makeup artist. She got fully booked. So then I got another one and another one. Then I was at 5 makeup artists. And I remember I had $12,000 in my bank account, and I called my accountant friend, who's still my accountant today, and I was like, what do I do? This is so much money. I have to owe taxes, And I was young, right? Like I didn't know. Yep. And he's like, you can just just sit on it for a little bit, And I was starting to notice we were getting asked for hairstyling. I didn't have a hairstyle, so then I got a hairstyle. So I was 5 and 1. Then I was like, well, I need to even this out and get teams. Fast forward to before we got the studio in 2021, I had 25 hair and makeup artists. We would work mobile all over the world, and we worked out of my basement. And I saved a ton of money by not getting a brick and mortar store. And in 2021, I was able to take advantage of COVID times and really, really low commercial rates. And I got the studio. And I could talk about that all day long, but if I have any advice for someone getting a studio, get bigger if you can.
Interesting.
Because you can grow into it.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people, they get studios, brick and mortars, and they get as small as possible because you pay by the square foot.
Yeah.
And I do understand being on a budget. I'm still on a budget. But if I didn't have more space than I needed, I would never be where I am today. And that's, I think, you know, very good advice for people opening a store.
Well, and especially if you're a growth-minded person and you know that growth is in your future, right?
For sure.
If that's the intention.
Yeah.
So did you quit nursing school or did you finish nursing school?
Immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I quit immediately.
Yeah.
My first year I did, you know, the prerequisites and all of that, and I quit. Yeah.
And was that a big decision or was that an easy decision?
It was really easy because I think at the time I was so young, but I didn't really realize. Do you know the word Dharma?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my Dharma. It was my purpose.
Yeah.
And I think I have been aligned with my purpose this whole time without really realizing it.
Yeah.
And I don't regret going into nursing at all.
Yeah.
Because I'm helping people in a different way.
Yeah.
I'm with them. We're with them on their wedding day. We're helping them feel better with a massage or their hair. You know, it's a little bit more lighthearted. Like, you know, I'm not administering morphine. It's a better painkiller.
I think this is such a good conversation though, because so many people have ideas of, if I want to help, this is the construct, this is the paradigm, this is the only way to do that. And they get stuck in those careers, right? It's like something's not quite right, but I love lots about it. And to be able to look outside of that box, right? What's important to me? I want to help people.
Yeah.
And there's lots of ways to help people.
For sure. And there's lots of ways for people to do one thing. I think especially in today's day, there's so many different avenues of business. There's so many different avenues of making money that it can be really noisy out there. You know, I think as an entrepreneur and someone that owns a business, there's just so many directions that people can go to, and they need to hone it in.
Yeah.
You need to hone it in, and you might need to try a bunch of things.
Yeah.
And fail at a bunch of things in order to figure out, this is actually what I want to do.
Yes.
I want to do interior design. Yeah. But I started out by selling houses.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the power of focus. One of my favorite quotes is from Steve Jobs. He says, I'm just as proud, or if not more proud, of the things we said no to than the things we said yes to. And as an entrepreneur, there's, like you said, so much noise, so much coming at us that we think we have to do all of it.
Oh, yeah.
And the more we say no to things, we're saying yes to what's really soul giving.
100%.
Right?
And what's revenue building.
Yes.
You know, if you spread yourself too thin and you're burnt out on a regular basis and getting groceries is a task, you need to change something. Yeah. Something needs to change in your life. And I've been there many times. I still struggle with that on a regular basis. I'm a yes person naturally.
Yeah.
So I'll double book myself. I'll run ragged. I'll be getting up at 6 a.m. and every day in order to do things. And it just doesn't serve you as a business owner or as a human being, really.
Was your family supportive of, say, entrepreneur parents, but did people look at you and say you're crazy, or what? Did you have a support system around you? What did that look like?
You know, my parents are the best people in the world, and they 100% supported me. So yes to that. I think that makeup artistry as a career, as a hairstylist, were looked upon as like, that's not a career. And I remember even having limiting beliefs myself. Before we opened the studio, I would say to someone like, well, no one gets makeup on a Tuesday. So many people get makeup on a Tuesday now.
I got my hair and makeup done, and it's
there
Thursday.
You go. There you go. And I think that, you know, we have this, it's those limiting beliefs that keep us in the same spot. And the support system around me, I mean, the relationships I built working with Estee Lauder a lot of them have taken me to where I am today. So people that I met that worked at Clinique were rooting for me from the sidelines. So then they're like, oh, you know, you need to talk to Heather. You need to give Heather, like, call Heather. She's got this business now. And that is one of the things that is so important along the way of your life, is building these relationships with people and not being disingenuous, not thinking like, oh, Stacey can do this for me. I'm going to snuggle up to Stacey. But just genuinely being a good person and rooting for other people. Yes. You get that support back, you know?
Well, and community is so important. And especially, again, entrepreneurs, not everybody was born into an entrepreneurial family.
No.
And so if you do have that spirit, if you do have that passion, but you have people saying to you, you're crazy, this isn't safe. If we're not confident in what we're doing, if that self-doubt is really real. So finding that community is so important.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that people experience that in business. I think that, you know, a lot of people are risk adverse naturally.
Yes.
And so whatever is safe is what we'll do. And so staying at a 9-to-5 job in a mundane life, being bored, upset that they don't have time to do what they want to do, that's encouraged. But you can find your tribe. Yes. You know, you can, all you got to do is just find that one person who's going to cheer for you. And then maybe that person knows one other person. And business is all about connections and it's all about referrals. I don't care what anyone says. Social media is important. You know, advertising is important, but if you refer my business and people trust you and you've got a circle of 10 people, it's the growth of business.
It's huge.
Yes.
Yeah. So talked a little bit about failure. So I think the word failure, oftentimes people who are successful, they don't see them as failures because they understand that that's growth opportunities. Mm-hmm. But if you look back on your journey, how important has failure been in that journey, or what role has it played for you?
It's, you know, there's one specific thing that I think about. I hired a coach and she had given me kind of bad advice for my business. We didn't do enough research. We didn't launch this new idea properly. It fell really flat. We scared our clients. We lost a lot of clients. And what it was basically luxury packages for brides. And we wanted to we offer everything, right? We're going to bring champagne. We're going to bring you breakfast. We're going to bring you everything. And it's a great idea. Yeah. But bridesmaids already do that. And moms already have a spread. And so as we're launching this, I'm starting to realize that people don't really want this and they just want our services. And so, you know, looking back on that, it's a good thing I went through that because it taught me how to launch things to our clients, first of all. And it taught me how to read our clients better. Yeah. And what do they actually need? This is a great idea, but is there a need for it? That's a big thing with business. You know, we can have all these like pie in the sky ideas, but if no one's going to buy into them, you need to shift.
Looking back, was your intuition telling you, don't do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And lots of other people told me too.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, this is going to work. And I remember even my partner, he's like, I don't know, but he's going to support me, you know? And he's like, okay, we'll build this. And it was crazy. Like we even had like monogrammed chocolate that we would give them and great, you know, that's like 5-star hotel stuff. Yeah. But it was an absolute waste of money, you know, but that's okay. We got through it. We still had a lot of clients and I just shifted really is what I did.
Yeah. Well, and again, you are already, you mined the growth. You said, here's what I learned from that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think that's the key, right? Failure is going to be a part of the journey. It's what you do with it that really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure you've done things that you failed at, you know, and you didn't let it kick you while you were down and you didn't wallow in that and you didn't become a glass half empty kind of person. And so you just have to get through that. Yeah. You know, Donald Trump has been bankrupt like how many times? And I only know Donald Trump because that's a good statistic, but so many billionaires out there have absolutely decimated their bank accounts.
Yes.
And they've risen above all of that. And you have to think about that.
Phil Knight, founder of Nike, reading his book early on was so helpful because he's growing and growing and growing and not sure if he can make payroll. Yeah. And it just normalized this idea of challenges, and it's maybe a few more zeros, but it's the same challenges no matter what business, no matter what industry, no matter how big, how small, it's the same challenges. And that was so helpful for me when I thought, am I doing something wrong and what's happening? And no, this is part of it. So be okay with that. And we can put things in place and
totally. And you know what? I think that having a healthy relationship with money, which I've certainly had to coach myself on that. I've had to read a lot of books. I've had to talk to a lot of professionals about it. And even just normalizing a conversation about money. I I have all the money I need. There's an infinite amount of money in Sherwood Park, Alberta. Yes. It will come to me. I'm spending a ton of money right now. It's very scary. I don't like that feeling. I get really I would say I'm a money hoarder. And with the expansion, I mean, I wasn't even prepared to do this. The lease next door was up and it was like, I have to jump on this opportunity. And so it's not like I had $200,000 banked. It's a very uncomfortable feeling going through this. And so that, the owner of Nike, I relate on a smaller scale, yes. But it's like, this will work out. Yeah. This will work out. I will have all the money I need. Worst case scenario, I get a loan, I pay it back. It's going to be okay.
Yes. And that mental conversation is so important, right? Reminding yourself of that.
That's why they hire people like you.
Yes.
Because we need people like you because you can't do this alone, And so let's say someone is new in business and they don't have a support system. I highly encourage hiring a coach like yourself, someone that can help them grow and give them even just the support emotionally. Yeah. You've got this. You've got this. And I tell my girls that every single day, when they're doing something new, or for instance, a hairstylist going into makeup artistry, I'll train them in makeup and they're like, I don't know, I've got my first bride. And I was like, man, you got this in the bag. Yeah. You can do this. You can do this. Okay. So a while ago, when I first opened the studio 10 years ago in our house in Sherwood Park, we had a bunch of new systems we implemented, like a new salon software and all of this stuff. And I was still working at my parents' business at the time. So I was doing two things. And I remember having my first anxiety attack. And I've never had an anxiety attack before. I'm not an anxious person. And I was rocked. I was like, I can't operate like this. Yeah. I'm so overwhelmed. And I can't, and one thing that my partner is really good with is he's good at recognizing the things I say to myself. So I would say, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. And he's like, Heather, if you keep telling yourself that you're overwhelmed, you will remain overwhelmed. Yes. If you keep saying Blush is bleeding money, Blush will continue to bleed money. And I had a life coach tell me that as well. She was incredible. I met her at the gym. We fell in love immediately. And Cameron, my partner, tells me that too. And I think the minute I start to get into that negative self-talk, I have no money, I'm losing money, I can't do this, whatever. I just go inside and I realize I can do anything. Everyone in the whole world does crazy things on a regular basis. I need to stop this. I need to start just coaching myself. I can do this. Yeah. I can do this. And taking time for myself is really important. Going to the gym every day, going for walks, because we don't do enough for ourselves. We're always giving, I think, as business owners, a lot of times. It's a lot of output. You just have to coach yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm not overwhelmed. I have all the time in the day that I need. And I write that down in my journal all the time. I have all the money I need. I have all the time I need.
Yeah.
And that's like my life mantra. It's real hard to believe sometimes.
Yes.
Because 3 a.m. brain kicks in and it's like, I have no money. I have plenty of money. And I have enough money to do what I need to do. Yeah. And it'll come to me if I need more.
What I think is so important about this conversation is to normalize the fact that, and we look at successful people and we think, well, they don't have these thoughts anymore. Clients will often say to me, when will I stop feeling this? Well, as long as you're growing,
totally,
you're going to experience that. It's what you do with it. And so our ability to self-coach, to notice it, to shift it, it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It just has new forms.
What do you think is a good idea?
Well, I would say exactly what you're doing, right? Yeah. It's the awareness, first of all, to notice the stress signals. I'm not sleeping, I'm panicking, I'm overwhelmed. And the sooner you can notice those triggers and to interrupt it and replace it. So what you're doing is exactly what I would teach people to do but you have to have the awareness first to know that you're spiraling.
Totally.
And most people don't even have that awareness to notice it, never mind know that they can transform it.
Yeah. It's painful. There's people on the team that I see starting to spiral, and it's hard to shift them out of that, that mindset, that energy flow. It's flowing, you're flowing in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I think that, because I've been on an awareness journey probably for the past 5 years, it's really easy for me to see it. Yeah. And it's hard for me to watch it in other people. Yeah. So if you want to succeed, if you want to grow as a business owner, if you want to own your own business or be a solo entrepreneur, start your own business, you have to start with your own awareness, and you have to start with your own personal growth, because business will try to knock you down on a regular basis.
Yes.
If you're not strong enough, you'll get knocked down.
Well, and the other thing is the business can never outperform the owner's mindset. And so if you're not expanding your mindset and your awareness, your business won't expand.
Yeah, so true. And so when I opened the studio, I was so scared, right? I was now going from $0 a month and paying rent to paying $6,000. Yeah. And it was like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? I go bankrupt. I'm still alive. I still have my dogs. Yeah. I still have Cameron. I still have my family. That's the worst that can happen. I go bankrupt. I can do that. Yeah. People survive bankruptcy all the time. I didn't go bankrupt. I'm thriving for the most part. And you just have to get over that hump. And even talking about that with other people too, you know, because they'll be like, oh, that's crazy. 5,000 square feet. What are you going to do?
Yeah. And be careful who you share that with.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the same thing. I had my first anxiety attack when I launched my business too, and never again. And I said, I never want to feel this way. So what can I do? But I did the same thing. What's the worst that can happen? Well, we have to sell our house and we sell everything and we move into a little apartment and I go get a job at McDonald's.
Yeah.
I'm prepared to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the worst. And you know what? That's someone's amazing.
Yeah.
I always think about that, you know?
I love that.
Because lots of people don't have a job.
Yeah.
And if they could get a job at McDonald's, they'd be so happy. Oh, I have goosebumps. You know, it's all perspective. It's all perspective.
So good. You mentioned something too, going for a walk, time for yourself. Talk about your hobbies and just that personal time and how important that is.
Oh, it's my happy pill. I go to the gym every morning. I started walking a lot, which is really kind of like, you know, methodical and monotonous, but you're just slowing down, being outside. I try not to scroll too much and sit in front of Netflix too long. Like I'll work and have it in the background, but I do find I get a little anxious when I do that. And spending time with people you love. We don't spend enough time with our friends and family. I think a lot of times we're like, oh, we're so busy. I'm so busy. And, you know, Netflix will be there. Your phone's going to be there. Your people are the ones that are going to reignite that love and happiness in you. For me anyways, I think that's really important. And journaling.
Yeah. Well, and you didn't mention golf.
Golfing. I love golfing. I only started golfing like 4 years ago though. So I think that before that it was a lot of yoga but golf is great. It takes you away from something for 4 hours, 5 hours. You're outside. And you have to think about it when you're doing it.
Keeps you present.
Yes. Yeah. Presence is a huge thing. If you aren't thinking about golfing and you're thinking about all of these other background things, it's the worst game, and then you're not having a good time. Yeah.
Which is really a metaphor for life.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Being present.
Totally. I agree.
What would you say to the person who is thinking about the next big, bold move? So if it's an expansion, if it's I'm ready to quit my job and step into my business full time, and they're in that like DEFCON moment, what would you say to that person?
You know, I think one of the biggest things is because people get anxious when we don't know. So educate yourself as much as possible on what you're doing. And once you have all of the answers, go for it. Just do it. You know, if you think that you can make money doing what you want to do and you have the time to donate and you have the space, go for it. Just do it. And if you fail, you fail. We always kind of think about what people are going to think of us. No one cares. No one cares. You know, maybe one person will be like, oh, Stacey's restaurant didn't work out. Crazy. Where do you want to go to eat tonight? That's how it goes.
Yeah.
It's our life and it's the most important to us. And just do what you want. Educate yourself and do it.
Love that.
Yeah.
In the beauty industry, let's talk about that, because I'm raising a teen girl, a preteen, and talk to us a little bit about self-image and confidence and beauty and just your perspective on that.
My mom was really good at giving me confidence as a young girl. I was bullied a lot when I was young. I think that, so she had to kind of overcome that for me when I was young. And so that instilled a ton of confidence going into life. And I think that that's so important for business, first of all. When it comes to image, you know, we're bombarded on a regular basis of what everyone thinks is the perfect life. So you've got social media telling you that if you don't have this perfectly curated life, you're not anything. If you don't look a certain way, I mean, they're trying to start with a little bit more body positivity, but then things swing on the total other end of the spectrum and things get really unhealthy mentally. And I think that if you open your eyes, look at the people that are around you, everyone is different. We all have our own beauty. We all have things that we're beautiful for. And, you know, what's that saying? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
So the minute you start comparing yourself, I start to compare myself to you, you're never going to be like me. I'm never going to be like you. Yeah. We just have to quit it. We just have to stop and just start coaching ourselves that, you know, what you do is great and I should want good things for you. Because if I want good things for me, I should want good things for you.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, me too.
You mentioned team. Talk a little bit. I think one of the most challenging things in business can be the managing of people and team, and we're dealing with human beings, right? Yeah. It can be the most rewarding and challenging. Tell us a little bit about team and how you've built culture and what that's looked like for you.
I'm a really high vibe person, just naturally positive, and I really try to find that same trait in people that I hire, first of all. And I set the tone in the interview, you know. I have no room for BS. I have no room for gossip. I just don't operate like that. So I think that when you're interviewing team members, it's really important to set the standard right off the hop instead of trying to work backwards. When you hire someone and you're like, oh, I actually don't like that, and it's 6 months in. So that would be one of the biggest things I would say immediately. I think when it comes to managing a group of people, you can't take things too seriously, first of all. You have to give people grace. People are human beings.
Yeah. They're
going to mess up. I mess up all the time. And when we hold our team at these really high standards, but then I'm allowed to make mistakes, it's just not a good look. Mm-hmm. And I can't say you have to be, but one of the things that has helped me really is that I'm very easygoing. I heard the best thing the other day, yesterday. This really, really successful real estate guy said, I look at every day as 1,000 minutes. And I organize my day in 15-minute increments. And if 15 minutes gets ruined, let's say I'm talking to a really crappy client, or which we really don't have, but let's say that happens. I would never take $15 out of $1,000 and throw the rest away. I just would never do that. So if you have 1,000 minutes in a day and 15 minutes is ruined, move on, accept it, and move on and make the rest of the day still good. And when you have that mentality with a team, they see that and they also emulate that. They see me running out the homeless person outside. I'm like, get the cans, you know? And they see me helping everyone that walks through the door, whether they look like they have $1 million or they have 5. And you just have to set that standard. And it's really hard to give that mentality to people if they don't have it naturally.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's impossible to learn that. I don't think it's impossible to learn compassion and perspective and ease, you know?
If the desire is there.
You can do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. What's next?
Well, this space, when it gets built, is going to be amazing because it really expands my brand as a business. We're no longer just a hair and makeup team. It's like a full wellness center almost, you know, so we can start with the inside, which is really more important than hair and makeup. And I think that one of the cool things about Blush is that it's grown so organically that people just kind of follow us because they know it's genuine. So I would really like to see getting a Blush membership, which would be cool. I have to think about logistics and like what that would look like, what would be valuable to people. And I would like to start mentoring individuals in the beauty industry and building their business, going from a home business to a brick and mortar, build out of a space, because I've done that 3 times now, and building a team, because those are things that are really, they're missing in my industry. There's a lot of ego in my industry, and people, I think they need help with that. So that's my 2025 goal, is to get a coaching thing started.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, yeah.
So much wisdom. I could talk to you for hours, as we have done. And where can people find you?
So you can find us on the internet, of course, www.blush-artistry.ca, and then on Instagram, Blush Artistry MUA.
Excellent. And so if anybody's looking for hair, makeup, the wellness center, or potentially coaching,
yes,
stay tuned.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Excellent. Well, wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
And I know that you will be successful at anything that you do.
Thank you, Stacey.
Yeah. So thanks for being here.